Welcome to Tomorrow Unveiled, where we take the fire hose of future technology, distill it down, and deliver you the most potent, essential insights from the past week.
I have to say, looking at the volume of corroborated source material our dedicated research team pulled together for the week of December 17th through the 24th, it feels less like a step forward and more like a definitive leap.
It really does.
We are diving into a world where technology is no longer some peripheral accessory you happen to carry. It's becoming an intimate extension of your physical and, well, your cognitive self. The guiding theme for what we're exploring today is what we're calling strapped in.
That phrase, it just captures the historical moment perfectly. I mean, it reflects a fundamental change in the industry's philosophy. For nearly a decade, we're kind of stuck in two phases.
Right.
First, there was the era of quantification. That was the early days, focused purely on counting steps and logging heartbeats.
The Fitbit era.
The Fitbit era. Then came the era of notification, where your smartwatch was essentially just a vibrating, screen-constrained proxy for your smartphone. A constant nagging reminder that you are missing an email.
Exactly. But what the research from this past week confirms is a decisive, full-scale shift into what we're calling the era of integration. And this means something far more profound than just data logging.
So when we talk about this new integration, what's the real-world human outcome? What does that shift actually feel like for the person wearing the device?
It feels like the elimination of cognitive friction.
Okay.
The technology is moving toward a seamless symbiosis, responding to biological intent rather than, deliberate action. We're seeing breakthroughs where wearables understand our bodies, not just responding to muscle movement, but reading muscle signals, processing complex data autonomously, and drawing power from the user's own metabolic energy.
So the tech is becoming an invisible, intuitive extension of human capability.
That's it.
And that really is the core mission statement for Tomorrow Unveiled. Uncovering how these advances eliminate that cognitive friction between your intention and your action. It's making the technology just disappear into the background of your life. Our research team, they zeroed in on the convergence of three major vectors this week that not only confirm this shift, but really provide the foundation for the next decade of development.
We truly cannot talk about the future of integrated wearables without recognizing these three foundational pillars that just reached critical mass this week.
Okay, lay them out for us. What are the three major breakthroughs we need to spend the next 40 minutes or so unpacking in detail?
First, we have the complete overhaul of computer input. Neural and muscle signals are becoming the primary command line. This finally solves that massive interaction problem that has plagued augmented reality since its inception.
Okay, one.
Second, we have engineering solutions focused on making devices literally invisible. Specifically, the arrival of self-powering devices using the user's own body heat, eliminating the charging barrier.
Huge.
And third, we're seeing this massive push toward computational autonomy, with AI granting clinical and diagnostic analysis on the device, which means your sensitive data stays local, away from the cloud.
That is a lot to cover. Let's strap in, starting with that first vector, the input problem. Because it has been the absolute Achilles heel of augmented reality, of XR, and it is finally definitively being solved by reading the body's intent. The history of AR is, it's honestly just littered with these brilliant optical designs that were completely ruined by unusable controls.
Oh, completely.
If you think back to the earlier generations, what were the major failure points for input? Where did it all go wrong?
Well, the failure points were numerous. Really, it's because engineers were trying to solve a 3D problem with 2D or verbal solutions.
Yeah.
It just didn't map. You tried voice control, which is fine in a quiet office.
Sure.
But try talking to yourself to change a menu option on a busy street. It's socially awkward and, frankly, acoustically unreliable.
And the other main approach was using the camera on the glasses to watch your hands.
Yes, camera-based hand tracking,
Yeah.
which introduces the dreaded gorilla arm. It is the classic ergonomic complaint.
Right. You hold your arm up in front of you so the camera can see your fingers pinch and swipe.
And after about 60 to 90 seconds, your arm just fatigues.
Right.
It completely defeats the purpose of hands-free all-day computing.
Not to mention the technical shortcomings. Camera tracking is intensely power hungry because it requires continuous image processing and it suffers from occlusion. If your hand is slightly out of the camera's field of view or you move it behind an object, the interface instantly breaks.
And what's fascinating here is that the industry, recognizing this, is abandoning the visual input problem entirely It's moving in favor of an electrical input solution.
Okay.
Our dedicated research team highlighted a landmark strategic partnership announced this week between Wearable Devices Ltd. They make the MudraLink neural wristband and Rokid, a major player in AR glasses.
So this is a convergence designed to bypass physical motion entirely.
Exactly. This collaboration is about reading motor intent, not observing mechanical motion.
For our listeners who may not be familiar with this tech, how exactly does the Mudra Link work when you wear it on your wrist?
It uses advanced surface electromyography, or sEMG, sensors. These sensors are not tracking, they're not tracking the motion itself.
Okay.
They're picking up the minute electrical impulses that travel down your arm from the brain, heading to the hand muscles. Critically, these signals are detectable before the mechanical motion of the finger is completed.
Before it even fully begins.
Right. You are detecting the neural firing pattern, the intent.
So if I intend to pinch my thumb and index finger together to click a virtual button, the device recognizes that command from the electrical signal before my fingers have even physically touched.
Exactly. Think of it as intercepting the message from the brain to the muscles. This means you achieve command registration without needing to move your hand beyond, say, a tiny twitch of muscle tension.
That is the genuine ergonomic breakthrough. You are controlling the digital world, managing 3D holographic menus, swiping, selecting, all while your hands are just resting comfortably on your lap.
Or in your pockets.
Or even in your pockets.
Right.
The gorilla arm problem is just eliminated instantly.
And this leads us to the technical integration, which is the crucial point our research team really emphasized. This is not two separate devices just talking through a smartphone bridge, which always introduces lag.
And lag, or latency, is the absolute enemy of immersion. If you click a button and the action appears half a second later, the technology just feels clunky and unusable.
Precisely. So an update was pushed out to the Mudra Link application just before the partnership was formalized, and it allows the application to run directly on the smart glasses themselves.
So it's on device.
It's on device. Communication happens via optimized Bluetooth low energy. This cuts out the smartphone bottleneck, and it achieves sub-perceptual input latency. When the delay is below 50 milliseconds, the gesture feels instantaneous. It feels native.
The technology disappears.
It disappears.
Now, if this is truly going to be applied to standard input methods, standardization becomes, well, essential. The new update allows for customizable gesture presets. But I have to ask, if this is a proprietary system, how does it avoid fragmentation across the market?
That's the critical question, right? And Wearable Devices Ltd. is essentially aiming to create the QWERTY keyboard moment for neural interaction.
Okay, that's a great analogy.
For R to move beyond the current niche market, the interaction language, the meaning of a two-finger pinch or a five-finger spread, has to be consistent. If a pinch means select on Rokid's glasses, it needs to mean select on Meta's, on Samsung's, on any future AR platform.
A universal language.
It's a universal interaction language.
Okay.
By introducing these customizable presets and licensing the core IP, they're proposing a standard that democratizes neural input across different hardware brands without requiring invasive procedures.
And that level of standardization is absolutely necessary for mass adoption. Now, while wristbands are solving the motor control problem, the intention to move, other big players are focusing on a higher level of input, thought control problem. And this is where Neurable comes in.
Neurable had a massive week. They successfully closed a $35 million Series A funding round. And while MudraLink reads motor intention signals, Neurable is focused on harvesting data related to high-level cognitive states.
And they are doing this by integrating dry EEG electroencephalography sensors into a consumer product that millions of people already use, high-fidelity headphones, specifically their Neuro LT line.
Yes. And unlike medical EEG, which involves, conductive gel and bulky equipment, these dry electrodes are integrated right into the ear cups. They're hidden within a standard consumer audio device.
And the AI then does what?
The Neurable AI interprets the resulting brainwave data to map a user's focus, their fatigue levels, and their overall cognitive load.
So it's not about using my brain to control the computer yet. It's more about the computer.
Exactly. It's about the computer monitoring my mental state and optimizing my performance.
Right, optimizing performance in real time.
We call it cognitive quantification, and the funding is specifically aimed at expanding this monitoring capability into high-stakes consumer sectors like gaming and esports,
where cognitive endurance and split-second reaction time are critical competitive metrics.
Absolutely.
Give us a concrete example of how this cognitive data might be applied.
Okay, imagine an esports tournament. An athlete is wearing these headphones. The AI is continuously running analysis on their brainwave patterns.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of waiting for a visible performance slump, the system can proactively detect that the athlete has been intensely focused for, say, 45 minutes, and their fatigue metric, the biomarker for mental burnout, is spiking.
Ah, I see.
The AI can then feed a prompt to the coach saying, initiate tactical pause immediately. Cognitive processing speed is deteriorating. It moves optimization beyond just physical health and into mental strategy.
That's a powerful, non-invasive path toward true cognitive augmentation. But we have to address the elephant in the room, the deeper, more powerful, and, frankly, more controversial approach.
Invasive brain-computer interfaces, BCIs.
Yeah. Our dedicated research team drew on corroborated data regarding Neuralink and paradromics this week, and the clinical reality is accelerating dramatically.
The transition Neuralink is making is critical. Our research confirmed they achieved their ambitious 2025 goal of implanting interfaces in 20 human patients. This is the moment they move from a novel experiment to a scaled clinical deployment.
And trials are expanding globally.
Across the US, Canada, the UK, the UAE. This signals a shift toward commercial readiness and, robust regulatory navigation.
The bandwidth breakthrough reported is, to me, the single most impressive piece of data from the entire week. The ability to control a device by thought has been around, but it was usually limited to a single cursor or a basic yes-no.
Well, the case of patient Jake Schneider changes the conversation about functional restoration permanently. He achieved a typing speed of 141 words per minute.
141 words per minute.
Simply by training the BCI system to translate the imagined motion of typing with all 10 fingers simultaneously.
That matches or exceeds the speed of many professional able-bodied typists. It's astonishing.
Oh.
What does that speed tell us about the BCI's actual capability?
It tells us two key things. First, the latency is negligible. The brain's intention is translated into action almost instantaneously. But more importantly, it shows the system's ability to decode incredibly complex, rich motor intentions.
It's not just one signal.
No. Previous BCIs struggled to translate simple, symbolic movements, translating the coordinated symphony of 10 unique finger movements, which are, neurologically speaking, 10 simultaneous complex instructions, into digital action is a massive leap in functional bandwidth and resolution. It fundamentally closes the communication gap for individuals with severe motor impairment.
And that level of high-resolution control signals the maturation of the entire BCI field. The source material also highlighted that the competitive pressure is rising, which suggests the market is validated.
Oh, absolutely. Paradromics, for example, received FDA investigational device exemption approval this week for its Kexis BCI.
And they have a different focus.
Yes, Paradromics is focusing its Connect 1 trial specifically on speech restoration, translating the neural signals associated with the intent to speak into synthetic voice output. So we're seeing this race not just to implant, but to master specialized functional restoration.
Whether it's typing, speech, or motor control.
Right. And the research also corroborated reports about the Chinese Academy of Sciences, showcasing a patient controlling both a smart wheelchair and a robotic dog using only neural commands.
And the latency on that.
Under 100 milliseconds. Thought-to-action latency under 100 milliseconds.
Wow, that's faster than the average human reaction time to a visual cue.
Yeah.
So the takeaway from this first section is absolutely clear. Whether it's an electrode array in the brain, a subtle wristband, or EEG in a headphone, the human nervous system is becoming the primary high-bandwidth command line for computing.
Exactly. The input friction is being solved. And if the interface is becoming invisible and intuitive, the hardware itself has to follow suit. Which brings us to our next major theme. Solving the persistent engineering problems of weight, size, and power that prevent true all-day integration.
When you look at high-end AR glasses today, they have these incredible specs, resolution, brightness, but they still have one major friction point that stops them from being true all-day wearables.
Well, weight.
The weight. They still feel like glorified safety goggles, not prescription specs.
The weight problem is the persistent, defining ergonomic challenge for the entire AR industry. And our research team used the global launch of the Rainio X3 Pro as a perfect illustration of this trade-off.
The optics are genuinely world-class. We're talking about stunning binocular full-color micro-LED optics, 3500 nits brightness. I mean, that's bright enough to compete with direct sunlight. Your holograms are crisp even outdoors. But then you look at the spec sheet and you hit that ergonomic wall.
The device weighs 76 grams, and that is the problem. Think about what you're currently wearing, listeners. Standard glasses are typically between 20 and 30 grams. Even the popular, audio camera glasses from Meta are around 49 grams.
So 76 grams is it's pushing the absolute upper boundary for comfort.
It's too heavy for people to forget they are wearing it. And if you can't forget you're wearing it, it hasn't achieved true integration.
Okay, so we have world-class optics, but they're still bundled with too much weight, usually because of the battery, the chips, and the complex optical stacks. How is material science, then, directly trying to solve this?
By completely redesigning the optics from the ground up. This week, Kyocera introduced a major metal lens breakthrough. This moves far beyond traditional bulky curved glass.
What exactly is a meta lens or a metasurface?
Essentially, it's a flat surface engraved with nanoscaled structures smaller than the wavelength of light itself. And these structures are designed to control light propagation. So instead of needing a bulky stack of several curved glass elements, the metasurface does all the complex optical lifting.
So instead of a thick lens assembly, you have something incredibly thin, but just as powerful.
Exactly. The result is an optical component that is less than 1 millimeter thick, yet it still maintains full color, high-res imaging, and, critically for AR, natural depth perception.
This allows for significantly smaller, lighter glasses.
It's a foundational step toward hitting that 30-gram invisible threshold where a user truly forgets they're wearing tech.
And it's not just the glass, it's the underlying manufacturing for all the flexible components around the lenses. Our dedicated research team highlighted a major breakthrough in printable electronics from Trinity College, Dublin.
This is a breakthrough in both scalability and cost reduction. The researchers developed a predictive framework for manufacturing low-cost printable electronics. Imagine the efficiency of a high-volume printing, press roll-to-roll printing.
Yeah.
But instead of printing ink on paper, you are printing flexible sensors, circuits, and IoT controllers onto thin, pliable substrates.
That moves manufacturing far beyond the limitations of expensive, multi-billion-dollar semiconductor fabs.
It absolutely democratizes the technology. It promises scalable, flexible, and affordable mass production for sensors. It allows manufacturers to integrate sensing and computing into soft surfaces and clothing far more affordably.
This is the structural foundation of the future wearable, pliable, cheap, and easily mass-produced.
Precisely.
Okay, so we're shrinking the lenses, streamlining manufacturing. But even with smaller components, the single biggest adoption barrier, the thing that causes the most user anxiety, is the charging ritual.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm so tired of having a nightly charging routine for my watch, my ring, my headphones, my glasses.
That anxiety, we call it the charging friction, is the #1 reason high-tech wearables end up in a drawer. They require too much conscious intervention. But a breakthrough confirmed this week from the Ulsan National Institute of Science and Technology in South Korea suggests we might be nearing the end of that routine.
They focused on thermoelectric harvesting. How did they achieve this leap in efficiency and wearability?
They developed a flexible ionic thermoelectric film. So thermoelectric devices convert a temperature differential into electricity.
Right, body heat.
Your body generates metabolic waste heat constantly, making your skin surface slightly warmer than the ambient air. The traditional problem was that the generators were rigid, fragile, and inefficient. This new UNIST film, however, is flexible, durable, and uses ionic materials, which are incredibly efficient conductors of heat.
And the performance metric is genuinely groundbreaking.
It is. The material can generate usable power from a temperature differential of just 1.5 degrees Celsius.
That's 2.7 degrees Fahrenheit.
Right, between your skin and the ambient environment. This efficiency allows it to function even in climate-controlled indoor spaces, not just outside on a cold day.
This is the definitive pathway to the batteryless wearable, isn't it? A soft device may be applied like a bandage that is powered indefinitely by your own metabolic waste heat.
It's a genuine game changer. Combine this perpetual power source with modern ultra-low power chips, and you have the infrastructure for wearables that truly disappear because they never require conscious intervention. They just feed off your own energy. They become truly symbiotic.
Which naturally leads us to the final piece of this puzzle, computation. The Edge AI mandate. We're seeing a massive intentional shift of computation away from the cloud and onto the device itself. Why is that so critical?
2 interlocking reasons: power efficiency and privacy. Raw data transmission is the single largest energy drain on a device. A device constantly uploading streams of movement, video, or neural data will die very quickly.
And the privacy issue.
And if you transmit highly sensitive data like continuous gait analysis or raw EEG signals to the cloud, you instantly lose control and introduce major privacy and security risks.
Our research team found a fantastic case study that illustrates how Edge AI solves both of these problems simultaneously, the Arizona Frailty Detector.
Yes, this device is designed for continuous elderly care, focused on fall prevention. It's a soft, adhesive-free mesh sleeve worn on the thigh, and it tracks extremely detailed biomechanics gait symmetry, step variability, posture changes, key biomarkers for frailty.
But the crucial part is what it doesn't send over the network.
Exactly. It performs all its analysis on sensor, uses a tiny low-power neural network built right into the sleeve's controller. This network processes the raw, gigabyte-level movement data locally.
And it transmits only the diagnostic result.
Only the result. For example, fall risk elevated or frailty index increasing by 5%.
So it's reducing raw data transmission by what, 99%?
Something like that. That reduction is key. It dramatically extends the operational lifespan, and more importantly, it addresses the core privacy concern because the raw, highly sensitive biometric signature never leaves the body.
It's a model for medical wearables in 2026.
Absolutely. Privacy-preserving design built on edge intelligence, which also solves the problem of deploying in rural areas that may lack high-speed internet.
Okay, so we've solved the input problem with neural wristbands, we're solving the weight problem with meta lenses, and we're solving the power and privacy problem with thermoelectric harvesting and edge AI. Now let's look at where these integrated devices are making the biggest real-world splash, particularly in high-stakes fields. Wearables started as step counters, but they are rapidly moving into these high-stakes, life-critical applications. Let's start with advanced diagnostics and patient control, specifically Zoll's LifeVest.
The LifeVest is a wearable cardioverter defibrillator, a WCD. It's prescribed to patients at serious risk of sudden cardiac death. And the new 5th-gen model introduced this week reflects a focus not just on the tech, but on the profound human experience of wearing a life-saving device 247.
How does this generation address that patient experience?
The primary new feature is the addition of response buttons. Previously, if the device detected a life-threatening arrhythmia, it would automatically deliver a shock.
Right.
And while the technology is incredibly accurate, its inappropriate shock rate is already extremely low, around 0.5%. That 0.5% matters enormously to the patient who receives a painful, unnecessary shock.
Of course. Reducing false positives is almost as important as maximizing true positives in these situations.
Absolutely. The new response buttons allow a conscious patient to briefly delay unnecessary therapy. If the patient is conscious and knows the alarm is false, maybe they move suddenly, they can press the button to cancel the shock cycle, pending reanalysis.
That single feature must be a huge psychological relief.
It reduces anxiety, builds trust, and most importantly, improves long-term compliance, which is critical, since these patients often wear the device for over 23 hours a day.
It's making the patient an active participant in their own therapy.
And in the realm of non-invasive diagnostics, the momentum is building rapidly around eliminating finger pricks. Our research team highlighted the successful Series A extension for Liam, a startup focused on non-invasive glucose monitoring.
They secured a massive round, over $40 million, confirming huge investor confidence in continuous glucose monitoring without piercing the skin. Why has this particular tech hurdle been so difficult for so long?
It's the sheer complexity of accurately measuring a substance deep within the body glucose using external optical or electromagnetic sensors. You have all these confounding factors like skin thickness, hydration, movement.
So this funding really validates that the pursuit of crick-free glucose monitoring is entering its final stages.
It's moving from complex lab concepts to reliable mass-market wearables.
No. Moving from clinical health to accessibility, I found the segment on sensory substitution absolutely fascinating. It proves that wearables aren't just about what you see or hear. They are about opening up entirely new channels of information, specifically through touch.
This is where haptics, the science of touch, truly creates new interfaces. We saw two incredible examples this week. The first is one-court haptics, which was tested by the Seattle Seahawks and the NFL.
Describe this for blind and low-vision fans. How does it convey a fast-moving football game?
It's a tactile tablet. The device ingests real-time spatial data, who is where, on the field, the exact location of the ball, and translates that player position and momentum into trackable vibrations on the surface.
So you place your hands on the device, and you can literally feel the topology of the game.
You could feel the quarterback drop back, the receiver running a fly route down the sideline, and the subsequent tackle happening in the center of the field.
You're feeling the game.
You are feeling the spatial, kinematic topology of the game, synchronized precisely with the radio broadcast. The implications are enormous, extending way beyond sports.
And the second innovation, the Lumen AI glasses, is essentially creating a complete AI-powered guide dog system.
It is an engineering masterpiece. This headset uses 6 cameras, lasers, and GPS, constantly monitoring the environment. The onboard AI analyzes everything over 100 times per second to build a detailed 3D model. It detects stairs, approaching obstacles, changes in ground texture.
And how does it deliver that guidance to the user?
Through an integrated system of haptic feedback and spatial audio cues. The haptics might buzz on the side of your head to indicate an obstacle on the left, while spatial audio might whisper 3 stairs down, 10 feet ahead.
It's total sensory substitution for navigation.
Exactly. It proves the power of high-speed edge AI combined with integrated haptics for critical life-enhancing applications.
And if we pivot from life enhancement to physical capability enhancement, we move into the industrial sector, where wearables are augmenting the worker's body itself.
This is the industrial body upgrade, typified by the deployment of the Hyundai Exable Shoulder wearable robot.
This is a passive exoskeleton, right? It doesn't use motors, but rather uses springs and leverage to redistribute weight.
That's right. It's designed for workers who perform frequent, repetitive overhead tasks, like mechanics and automotive assembly.
Yeah.
The design goal is simple but transformative: reduce fatigue and catastrophic injury risk.
And by how much does it actually reduce the load on the worker?
The research confirmed the device reduces shoulder load by up to 60%. Imagine doing your job, but the physical strain is cut by more than half.
That's a huge deal.
It's the definition of practical, non-superhuman augmentation. It's already being deployed at Korean Air for aircraft maintenance and across Hyundai's automotive plants.
And finally, integrating those high-fidelity sensors into training, eliminating physical controllers. The StretchSense XR Train Glove is a fascinating example.
It's designed specifically for enterprise, training complex medical procedures, heavy equipment handling. The glove uses high-fidelity sensors for subjoint precision tracking. It knows exactly where every part of your finger is in 3D space.
But the integrated haptics are the key piece of the puzzle here.
Absolutely. The haptics close the feedback loop. When you reach for a virtual fire extinguisher or try to press a virtual button, you don't just see the action. You feel the resistance of the button or the grip of the virtual tool in your hand.
So it makes the learning process intuitive.
It makes it intuitive, faster, and much more accurate because muscle memory is actively engaged. And if you're finding this insightful and you're listening on a podcast service like Apple Podcasts or Spotify, we'd be incredibly grateful if you could take a moment to leave us a rating and review for Tomorrow Unveiled. It truly helps us reach new listeners and continue our mission of exploring the future.
We appreciate that support immensely. Okay, we've covered the neural interfaces, the material science making the hardware disappear, and these amazing high-stakes applications. Now it's time to confront the inevitable friction. Because all this hyper-integration is fantastic, but it creates profound vulnerabilities that our legal and regulatory systems are utterly unprepared for.
The biggest challenge we face is the escalating sensitivity of the data being collected. Wearables have shifted from tracking passive external data like location and heart rate to tracking internal predictive data.
Gait analysis, emotional states from EEG, even raw neural intent.
Exactly.
And this data is uniquely valuable. Our research team highlighted that healthcare records command a premium price on the dark web, up to $21,000 USD equivalent per record.
And if an attacker can collect high-resolution data on a person's cognitive load, their preclinical frailty indicators, or a neural signature, that information is immensely valuable, not just for identity theft, but for profiling.
It could be used for insurance underwriting.
Refusing coverage based on predicted future health decline, or for employment screening. And here is the core conflict. The pace of technology is moving exponentially faster than the pace of governance.
We saw a clear political failure to protect this new data class just this week with the veto of the New York Health Information Privacy Act, or NYHIPAA.
NYHIPAA was intended to extend HIPAA-like protections, which covered data from traditional medical providers to data collected by non-medical wearables, wellness apps, and fitness trackers,
which often operate completely outside traditional medical governance.
Creating a data black market where users are unknowingly exposing their most sensitive biometrics.
And the veto rationale cited was a concern about discouraging innovation. But at what cost?
Well, research confirmed that this veto leaves a massive, gaping regulatory vacuum. Neural data and detailed biometric signatures currently enjoy fewer federal protections than a credit card number.
That's incredible.
As BCIs become more common, this vulnerability becomes critical. The security of your digital nervous system becomes synonymous with the security of your biological one.
Let's discuss the direct security risks, which go beyond just data privacy. We need to talk about the risk of device hijacking.
We have to consider the physical and digital risks. Smart glasses, for instance, which can look indistinguishable from regular eyewear, can record audio and video in public, enabling non-consensual documentation and real-time facial recognition.
Which erodes public trust. And then there's the underlying operating system vulnerability. Our research confirmed that many of these devices run on Android or Android-derived kernels.
Which is why the December 2025 Android Security Bulletin was so alarming. It highlighted the active exploitation of two zero-day vulnerabilities, meaning they were being exploited in the wild before a fix was available.
So these flaws could allow a malicious app to hijack sensors.
Hijacking a sensor on a standard smartphone is one thing, but hijacking a sensor on a device monitoring your brainwaves or delivering therapeutic electrical impulses is an entirely different level of threat.
The term for that is brainjacking.
And the risk is real. If an attacker can exploit a vulnerability to siphon neural data, they gain unprecedented, terrifying access to a user's most private thoughts and cognitive processes. If the industry wants this intimate integration to succeed, security has to be built in from the ground up.
So what's the industry consensus on the mitigation strategy?
It involves three non-negotiable mandates. First, mandatory privacy by design architecture. Second, heavy reliance on on-device AI processing, like the Arizona Monitor, to ensure sensitive data never leaves the local sensor. And third, robust end-to-end encryption for any data that absolutely must be transmitted externally.
Okay, let's wrap this up with an outlook. Our dedicated research team forecasts significant growth and key trends for 2026 and beyond. What are the big market numbers driving this?
The numbers confirm the trajectory. The global wearable market is projected to reach $152.82 billion by 2029, growing at a robust 16.8% CAGR. But look closely at the BCI market. The US BCI market alone is projected to grow even faster at 17.9%.
That faster growth for BCI reflects the rapid transition of brain interfaces from speculative tech to necessary assistive infrastructure.
Absolutely. And based on this week's data, three key trends are defining 2026. First, the consolidation of control. We'll see more headless AR glasses that rely entirely on modular, separate input bands or rings.
Separating the display from the input to save weight.
Exactly. Second, the rise of active textiles.
Self-powered clothing.
This is the natural outcome of the UNIST breakthrough. Devices that track health and power themselves using body heat, solar, or motion. A garment as platform model.
And third, the normalization of non-invasive neural interfaces.
They are projected to dominate BCI revenue share around 60.7% because of their accessibility and safety profile. This is the neural model going mainstream. Overall, the future wearable shifts from being a passive data logger to an AI-driven predictive health coach, proactively suggesting interventions based on a deep reading of your biological state.
Okay, to summarize this incredibly dense week.
The data confirms the maturation of wearables, from novelty accessories to critical infrastructure. And this rapid evolution is driven by solving input friction with neural commands, achieving power autonomy through biointegration, and pushing computation to the edge for privacy.
We love hearing your thoughts on this rapid acceleration in wearable technology, especially the questions of weight, control, and privacy. Whether you're listening on YouTube or your favorite podcast app, leave a comment and let us know what you think about this future of being truly strapped in. And if you're finding this insightful, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to Tomorrow Unveiled, and consider hitting that new hype button to help us reach more viewers. And of course, be sure to turn on notifications so you never miss an update on the future.
The technology is rapidly becoming invisible, integrated, seamless, powered by our own bodies. But this intimate integration forces us to confront an ethical and legal reality. The regulatory framework is struggling desperately to keep pace. And the legal and ethical question is no longer about the privacy of our data. That battle is already being fought, and it might be the wrong target. The true debate ahead is about the security, ownership, and integrity of the privacy of thought itself. That will be the defining discussion of the next few years.